My name is Melina Kelson. I'm an instructor at Kendall College in Chicago, as well as a certified master baker. Today I'm going to show you how to make Florentine bars. I'm going to make the short dough for the cherry almond Florentine bar. I'm going to begin by sifting my pastry flour with the salt. If you like, you could add some sugar to this dough. 5% of the flour weight in sugar would be absolutely fine to add. Or you could substitute honey for a portion of your liquid and the sweetness that's in there. I personally, however, like this bar to be neutral with the dough because I want that flavor of the honey to come out very strongly with the filling itself. That's really the star of the show. So I'm making a fairly basic pâte brisée or broken dough, pretty traditional short dough. I have cold water and very cold diced butter. My butter is going to drop in all at once. This is frequently done by hand, but in a bake shop you're usually making a lot of pie dough at once. There isn't time or hand strength to do the whole thing by hand. So I like to do it on the Hobart or KitchenAid with a paddle attachment. Again, it's very important that your fat is extremely cold, so it's the first thing that I'll scale. Make sure I'm in first speed. And I'm going to allow the paddle to cut the butter in until the butter is pea-sized, so it'll be rather flaky. Because this bar is on the thin side, I can make a flakier dough. The filling of the bar itself is going to be characterized by a strong honey flavor, dried fruit, and roasted nuts. In this particular application, I'm using roasted almonds and dried cherries, but honey matches so beautifully with a variety of fruits and nuts that pistachios might be a nice choice. Walnuts would be an excellent choice. I might want to accent it with a little bit of orange zest with the walnuts. I could use chopped dried apricots instead of using the dried tart cherries. That would be a nice option as well. As the paddle works the fat into the flour, I want to stop periodically, and if I see any large clumps of butter that aren't being resolved by the paddle, I'll shut the machine off, wait till the paddle stops completely, and then by hand give it a little squeeze to pinch it down in size. The balls of fat in here will turn into flakes when they bake in the oven, and as I mentioned before, I can leave this fairly flaky, cutting it into pea-sized consistency, or the consistency I might use for the top crust of a pie. So when it's properly cut in, it should look like this. Pea-sized balls of fat. I'm going to return it to the mixer, and I'm going to stream in my cold water. It's important that my water is cold. I don't want to have too much gluten development, and I don't want to add too much water in here. I only want to add what I need, and that's going to be determined by the size of fat that I've rubbed into. So I might need a little more or a little less. So the second this begins to pull together as a dough, I'll shut the machine off. It started to wrap around the paddle. That's a good indication that I have enough water in here, but just to be certain, I'll remove the paddle from here and the dough from the paddle. And I'll give this a squeeze to make sure that it holds together well. And it does. I always like to chill my dough in the final shape I'll roll it out into. So this is going to line a quarter sheet pan. So I will take this, knead it together lightly in the plastic, making sure the water is fully distributed before wrapping it well. In the shape of a rectangle. So again, if the dough is produced properly, I should see a marbleization of fat in there. I'm going to take this dough now, and I'm going to chill it for ideally 4 hours and no more than 2 days.